Hello students, this is your economics teacher here with your next chapter, Human Capital Formation in India. We have already studied about poverty chapter number 4 in our previous video, and this time we will study about human capital formation in India. This is one of the very important parts that plays a very vital role in the development of any country. And here we will talk about only our country, India. Now, what do you mean by human capital? In this particular chapter, we will be discussing about the concepts of human capital, its significance, the sources through which we can generate human capital, and its growth. Then we will talk about the relationship between human capital with different things. Human capital with respect to human growth, human development, growth of education sector in India, and growth of different sectors in India with respect to human capital. All these topics we are going to cover in this particular video. This is our first part. In second part, we will be carrying along with the relationship. In first part, we will be studying about human capital, its significance, sources of human capital, its growth, and a little bit introduction of the human capital with human development. Okay, so let us start with concept of types of capital and human capital formation. So when we talk about human capital, means human capital are the human beings who are well qualified or well equipped with all the skill, education, good health, training, and other major important things which are required for one person to be called as a human capital rather than being called as a human resource. As for example, you people are studying in the class, you are still in class 11th, 12th, and you have come up in class 12th by studying, going through various stages, means from pre-nursery to primary to primary to middle school, then middle school to higher school, and then higher secondary. So this is how you are still in the age of human resource, or you are still in the condition of human resource, because you are not uh, well qualified, that skilled, whichever is required for you to be called as a human capital. But after going out from school, when you'll become an engineer, a doctor, CA, or any other qualified MBA or some other training, after getting some specialized courses, you will become a human capital. So this is the concept of human capital in economics, and its formation goes on step by step. It cannot be achieved at an instant. It needs to go through different steps, and these steps are called as sources. This is what we will be studying in our next topic. Now, what is the difference between physical capital and financial capital? Before going for the concept of human capital, let us know something about physical capital and financial capital, because these two topics we are already studying from the beginning of our education line, or from the beginning of our life, that these are physical items and these is financial purpose, but we never talk about humans. So what we call as physical capital is all the physical assets or items which you can touch, you can move them from one place to another. They can be taken up from one country to another country. So depending upon the nations, physical capital is what you can feel, touch, and use, transfer from one person to another person, one country to another country. So that is what we call as physical capital, and their main purpose is to develop and contribute to the GDP of the nation, or to growth of the country, or to development of any country. Whereas when we talk about financial capital refers to the stock or shares of the companies. We generally in commerce stream we talk about finance, and finance is all related to shares, debentures, and different forms of investments and other things. Whereas financial in general terms can be called as the money matter. where you need money, and wherever money plays its role, it is called as financial capital, because no work can be done without money. So financial capital is the most important thing to make yourself grow or to move ahead with the betterment of your own self. Okay, so this is what we call as physical capital, or what we call as financial capital. Now next is human capital formation. Human capital formation, it is a process through which we acquire and increase the number of persons who are skilled. We acquire means we achieve, we make ourselves educated, and we increase the number uh, who are skilled, educated, and experienced. Means for any work where perfection is needed, we need to be well qualified, we need to be skilled, and we need to be in good health. Because if we are not qualified, we are not in good health, we are not skilled, we won't be able to perform at the best which is required at that particular uh, point of time, or for that particular job. So this is what we call as human capital formation. And to come in the category of human capital formation process, the things people need to develop themselves on the basis of knowledge, to develop themselves on the basis of skills, and to develop themselves on the basis of their ability. So when knowledge will be there, skill contributes into it, and ability means whether you are able to perform any task or not. It gives you a clarity in your mind that yes, you are a human capital and you can do whatever is demanded from your side. So this is how human capital formation takes all the three things into itself, and makes a human resource into a human capital. Now the next topic in this is a difference between physical capital and human capital. So when you talk about human capital formation, you have talked about education, you have talked about knowledge, you have talked about your ability, you have talked about skill. So these things, when you talk about physical capital, are absent. How can you say that these are absent? Because on the basis, when you make out the difference between physical capital and human capital, physical capital, physical on the basis of physical construction, physical capital can be touched, can be seen, and can be easily sold from one person to another person. Whereas when you talk about human capital, it is intangible. Intangible means whatever one's quality or one's specialty cannot be purchased by any other. Whoever is having a skill in one special feature may not be the specialty of some other one. So this is how it is. You can differentiate on the basis of physical construction between physical capital and human capital. That physical capital can be shifted from one person to another without any issues, whereas it is impossible in the case of human capital, until unless one tries to change himself from within. So this is what is the difference on the basis of physical construction. Then second is separation. Separation means physical capital can be easily separated from its owners, but in human capital, one's specialty or not be separated, because this is their specialty, their uniqueness, their individuality, that you cannot separate from one person. So this is is one of the another basis to differentiate between physical capital and human capital. Next is building. It can be built by imports also. Physical capital, when you talk about imports, also means if you are not having something within your nation or within your approach, then you can get it imported from abroad, get it imported from some other place, or get it imported from some other city when it is not available in your area. So is this the case with human capital? No, it cannot be the case in human capital until and unless the person is willing from inside, as I said before, until and unless you don't motivate yourself, self motivation is not there, you cannot change yourself, you cannot make yourself to move from one place to another. And other than that, formulation of state and its expenditure, whether you are able to spend so much on yourself or not, that also matters. And this is how physical capital differs from human capital on the basis of building. Now the next topic, next difference is nature of benefits. Nature of benefits means for physical capital, it is basically meant for creating private benefits, whereas when you talk about human capital includes private benefits as well as social benefits also. You can what why we are saying like this, that because any good human in any country leads to betterment of the society, betterment of the country, and betterment of its development and growth, and contributes in all respect to the betterment and development of any country. So you can say that on the basis of nature of benefits, physical capital is confined only to some personal or private benefits, whereas human capital benefits himself also and others also. And this others carries the society, the city, the surroundings, the people contact with him or her, as well as the country on whole. So this on the basis of nature of benefits it can be studied. The next comes your mobility. Mobility, when you talk about physical capital, it is completely mobile. Completely mobile, it is artificial, it is all made human made item. Okay, whereas when you talk about human capital, it is restricted. Restricted means it is a kind of inbuilt nature, or it may be a god gift, it may be developed in one through some personal motivation or self motivation, or when one wants to achieve something in his or her life, he or she generally tends to get himself or herself to be skilled, to be acknowledged, or to be developed up to that level. So, this is how, on the basis of mobility, you can differentiate between physical capital and human capital. So, these are the points of difference for physical capital with human capital, and this is a very important question for 3 mark part. So, do prepare it well for your preparations. Now, determinants or sources of human capital formation. Now, we have talked about physical capital, we have talked about human capital. Now, the next thing that we need to study is about determinants or the sources of human capital formation. So, when you talk about determinants means what are the factors which are responsible to make one human resource into human capital, or what are the sources which makes a human resource into a human capital. So, first point, this is expenditure on education. Expenditure on education leads to the overall development of the person. Overall development of the person means better education. Education leads to better approach of the person. When your approach is good of higher level, then automatically you contribute to the society. You will develop the society. You will develop the nation, and hence it is going to contribute to the growth of the nation. Okay, so this is what we call as expenditure on education. Next one is on expenditure on health. Expenditure on health plays a very major role in developing human capital. How can you say this? Because a healthy mind leads to a healthy body leads to healthy mind. This is a proverb that we have been hearing from the beginning of our life. Healthy body leads to healthy mind. When your body is healthy, when you are fit, you are capable of performing the best of yourself, and you are able to put up the best maximum of your energy for any kind of work. You give the best or the maximum, or you in terms of economics, it is you give your the most efficient form of energy to develop something into a positive uh, growth. So this is how healthy body leads to healthy minds, healthy minds leads to healthy growth of the nation, and or you can say to a higher growing graph of any country, or upward moving graph of any country. So this is how expenditure on health maintains and develops a person to growth and capital formation. Now next thing that comes is your on the job training. On the job training, it is very much required because every job prescribes some special features. It needs some specialty to get performed by people. So when someone is going for any job, they generally need to go through some job training. And when you go through some job training, it increases your efficiency to work, it increases your understanding. The training programs may be costing higher at that moment, but they gives you multiple times more better results when it comes to your performance. So on the job training also plays a vital role in human capital formation. Next is your migration and study programs for adults. So when you talk about migration contributes to human capital formation as it facilitates utilization of whatever you have done till now. Okay, when you talk about this, that means when you're studying in a small town or small city, or even if in a big town or big cities, then you tend to get some better opportunities, job opportunities, and you move from your place to some other new place which is a bigger place than yours. So or you have achieved a better position in some organization other than your own hometown or your living place. So when you move from one place to another, you migrate from your original place to some new place. So you come in different social environment because gains of migration are higher as compared to the cost of migration. When you talk about gains, means you will be getting better than the previous opportunity, or you will be getting more than the cost of migration, means whatever you have paid to move from one place to another. And it will this is but obvious that it is going to improve your standards of living. It will enhance your living, it will improve your standard of living, it will make you more developed, it will make you to achieve more and more further. So this is how migration plays a vital role in human capital formation. Now last but not the least, this is an expenditure on information. This is your fifth point, which plays a very vital role in developing human resource to human capital. So expenditure on information, how it plays, how it is important, why it is important, what is the role played by information. So this is a very simple term, information, that you read newspapers every day, you go through YouTube channels to study about different things, where you go through Facebook, you go through so many uh, recruitment sites, you go through employment news, you go through Pratiyogita Darpan, you read about so many different things, you need to know about so many competitive exams. So when you'll be spending on information, you will be upgrading yourself, you will be keeping yourself aware about the surroundings or the opportunities available as per your as per the demand of your skill, your education, your perspective, and all the things that you can do for betterment of your life through information. So we need to keep about the new opportunities existing in the surroundings, so that we can upgrade ourselves, we can develop ourselves and go for a better option next. So this is how we are complete with the things, that how source how source plays source, or you can say uh, the, development features of human resource into a human capital plays its role. Now let's have a quick recap of the topics that we have studied. We talked about human capital formation. We talked about human resource, because up till the uh, basic education up to class 12th, you are human resource. But after that, when you switch yourself from school education to college or higher education or technical knowledge, you convert yourself from human resource to human capital. So this we have discussed. Next topic that we discussed was about difference between the physical capital, financial capital, and human capital. Then we discuss about the sources which are responsible or which contributes to the development of a human resource into human capital. So all these terms play a major role in the development of any human first, and then its society, and at the third stage or last stage, it contributes to the development of the nation in all respect, whether it is knowledge, education, health, society, financially, or internationally. So this is how we are complete with our first part of the chapter, which was the sources and sources to develop into human capital.